out we will be racing, which is right now. Marta Garcia darts to the right of your screen. She tries to make a move up the inside. It looks as though young Marta is going to go from 6th to 4th, but a great start by your pole sitter, Xavier Loveres. They all go through turn number 2 and 3 relatively cleanly. In 4th spot is Enzo Corsimel, who has missed the start badly, the Frenchman with the bright orange helmet. A couple of karts leaving the circuit at the back of the field. But Xavier Loveres, he was second on the podium at the last round of the series. And he was very disappointed with that. He didn't even want to speak on the podium. But he's determined to make up for it here at Le Mans this afternoon. He leads down the back straight for the first time. In second place, it is the Russian Artem Slutsky, one of the 2 Slutsky twin brothers from Russia. Artem and Zakhar Slutsky. Artem in second spot. Another driver who's combined the Academy Trophy with the European Championships, Murillo Della Coletta in second spot. But a big incident there. You saw the driver of the 511 kart, that is the Brit, Callum Bradshaw, get a big knock in the back. And he says, it was Enzo Corsimel, in fact, who says, let's get on with it. In the 507 kart, Marta Garcia sits in 6th ahead of Slutsky. Aruga Tomita Budovskis is 9th. Alfred Nielsen. The Swedes lost a couple of places off the start. Our fastest qualifier, Ugo de Wilde, who we heard from before the start of this race, is in position number 14. Ilya Zamula, 17th behind Theo Nouet, another French driver. Theo took fastest, or qualified on pole at the first round of the series in Spain. As we take a look at the replay from the start, look at Marta Garcia dart to the middle of the track. She goes through on the left-hand side. Marta, she started out as 6th. She was briefly in 4th, but she comes across the line to complete number 2. Still in 6th, right behind Callum Bradshaw. Aruga Tomita from Japan has come from grid number 11 to be in 7th. There goes Aruga, leading that huge trail of karts through the midfield. Murillo Della Coletta. Couple of twins racing here this weekend, Murillo and Marcello Della Coletta from Sao Paulo in Brazil, and of course the Slutsky boys from Russia. Murillo Della Coletta in second spot from Alfie Brown. 2 Brits in the top 5 with Alfie in third. Callum Bradshaw, probably the smallest driver in the field. It's now been passed by Marta Garcia. You can just see Callum Bradshaw going through behind Garcia, who is the series leader. She only needs to finish in this position and she will claim the Academy Trophy for 2015. Of course, the title was won last year by the Dutchman, Richard Verschoor, who this year has been racing in the European KF Championships. We've had a big crash on the start-finish straight. A couple of drivers who've come together at the back of the field, but they have rejoined. They've spun out of harm's way. It looks as though a little bit of bodywork. We'll try and pick up who that was for you next time round. They have rejoined at the back of the field. Looks as though it might have been the Japanese driver Shion Shujimoto. Indeed it was. The young girl from Japan involved in that incident with a very bent front kart. We rejoin your leader Xavier Loveres. We've lost one nose cone though up the back straight. Oh, that's going to be a penalty. In fact, it's a side pod. Well, we rarely see that happen in international karting, but you saw it fly off at near on 100 kilometres an hour. So they come across the start-finish line. We can tell you that Alfie Brown, the Brit, who was and still is in third place, has lost some bodywork and will have to come into the pits to get it repaired, which will effectively put him out of the race. Well, this is a tragedy for the Englishman. You saw it fly off at the back part of the circuit at just on 100 kilometres an hour. Not sure if there was contact involved there. You can see Alfie Brown still sits in position number 3, but he's missing half his kart. He's effectively out of this race. Aruga Tomita sits behind Brown's countryman Callum Bradshaw in position number 6. You can see one kart going through minus the right-hand side pod. There it is, sitting on the right, or yes, the right of the racetrack. The left of your screen, that is. So there's a change on for 6th and 7th spot. Of course, the drivers behind will see that Brown has lost that bodywork, and it'll be like blood in the water for them. In fact, they're starting to go through now. Corsimao. There's Garcia in the 550 cart. Aruga Tomita in 504 from Japan. Alfie Brown has lost one place, but will surely lose a lot more. In fact, sadly, I can see the mechanical defect flag coming out for cart number 510, which is the Englishman, Alfie Brown. That is effectively the end of Alfie's race. Callum Bradshaw sits in 6th spot ahead of Aruga Tomita. Artem Slutsky. Well, Slutsky started on the second row of the grid, but has faded back to 8th. He's just ahead of Stuart White, the young South African, who has come from grid number 15 to be inside the top 10. Stuart is in fact in position number 9 all the way from Johannesburg in South Africa, son of off-road racer David White. Hi to all of our friends watching on in the south of the African continent. Stuart coming across the start-finish line now. As we go back to the leaders, it is still the Spaniard, Javier Loveres. This is 1/3 race distance from the Brazilian, Murilo Della Caleta. Enzo Corsimao, after that terrible start, has recovered and is in position number 3. That orange helmet there, just ahead of Brown, who will have to get the black flag if Alfie doesn't come into the pits this time round. Starting to drive a little bit defensive back in the field. As we mentioned, blood in the water. Alfie Brown minus some body work. As Stuart White, it looked as though fighting there with Artem Slutsky. As we watch Della Coletta, 514 go through. Mechanical defect flag once more for Alfie Brown. He will have to acknowledge that. Still comes across the line. This is the fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th spot. Alfie Brown has now pulled out, which elevates every other driver up a position. The Frenchman Enzo Corsimao is now provisionally on the bottom step of the podium behind the Brazilian Murilo Della Coletta. Della Coletta, though, is 1.2 seconds behind your race leader. A very determined Javier Loveres has been racing at the European Championships in KF Junior with the Straka Zanardi kart team. Was on the podium at the last round at Genk in Belgium. Further back in the field, though, we've had an incident with the Belgian driver, Michelangelo Amendola, who is out. Amendola stepping out of the 527 kart and is a retirement. This is your race leader, though. Javier Loveres across the line from Della Coletta. Corsimao. Can see fastest lap of the race there, no surprise. It is the Japanese Aruga Tomita, now up into position number 5. Aruga in 504. Just behind Callum Bradshaw. Enzo Corsimao. Up over the ripple strip, these drivers go through the chicane. The sun now makes yet another intermittent appearance here at Le Mans in France. The final round of the CIK-FIA Academy Trophy. There is our race leader, Javier Loveres. Very, very determined here this weekend, as is Enzo Corsimao in the 507 kart. Has a big look at the back of Murilo Della Coletta. Callum Bradshaw, the other Englishman, now up into position number 4. Up the inside goes Bradshaw. Bradshaw, the shortest driver in the field. Maximum aerodynamic advantage for Callum. Fighting there with Enzo Corsimao, another fastest lap of the race for the Japanese driver, Aruga Tomita. Bradshaw, though, the Brit, is now on the bottom step of the podium, having displaced Enzo Corsimao, the French driver who started on the front row of the grid. Of course, all these drivers in identical Paralin karts. Loveres, 508. From Spain, as we mentioned, racing the Euro Champs. His countryman, or countrywoman I should say, Marta Garcia, won the first and second round of the series. She's been brilliant throughout the year. Marta sits in 7th spot. There she is going through at the top of your screen, the number 550 kart. It's Callum Bradshaw down the inside now of Della Coletta. As you can see, the virtual championship. Well, It was a little bit closer than I thought. Marta Garcia in 7th position. If she stays there and if her countryman, Javier Olivares, wins this race, as he's on track to do, Marta will still claim the title by just 1 position. Marta, number 550, is right behind the Russian Artem Slutsky, and Stuart White, though, the South African, has made up another place to be in position number 8. Down the back straight, Javier Olivares. Well, can he take out the title? Marta Garcia, a little bit conservative this weekend. We speak about drivers who have the potential to make it all the way in motorsport. This is the first step. This is the CIK-FIA Academy Trophy. Of course, coming up, we will have the big one, the KZ World Championship later this afternoon. Marta Garcia, we speak about, is there ever going to be a woman driver in Formula One? Marta Garcia, male or female, she's just a brilliant young driver. She's on track to take the title here this afternoon, albeit by just 1 point from her countryman, Javier Olivares. Marta Garcia from Valencia in Spain, the city that hosted the Mediterranean F1 Grand Prix for a few years back there. Very no-fuss young driver. She doesn't say a lot. She does all of her talking behind the wheel. As we mentioned, male, female, woman driver, doesn't matter. She's just quick. She's damn quick, in fact. She leads the CIK-FIA Academy Trophy, but her countryman, Javier Olivares, is leading this, the final round of this 3-round series. That is Callum Bradshaw, the young Brit, in position number 2. Sits very, very low behind the steering wheel, puts his head down behind the steering wheel and goes down another couple of inches. Maximum aerodynamic effect. Javier Olivares works the wheel. This is the start of the 13th lap. They have completed 12 for this, the final round of the CIK-FIA Academy Trophy. This brilliant initiative started by the FIA in 2010. As we mentioned, last year's winner, Richard Verschoor, the Dutch driver, we will see in action in 2 weeks' time for the KF, the non-gearbox category of the World Championship. That will take place at La Conca in Puglia in the south of Italy, and you can see all that action also live right here on Motors TV. But Javier Olivares leads this race by just under 1 second from Callum Bradshaw. Bradshaw is towing the Brazilian Murilo de la Coleta along for the ride. Aruga Tomita now up into position number 4 from grid number 11. Well, can we have a Japanese driver on the podium? Indeed, it looks as though we may well do, because Aruga Tomita has got past the Brazilian. Aruga Tomita now in position number 3. Stuart White makes up another place, and on the way sits the fastest lap of the race. Stuart, the very likeable young South African, a lot of drivers, a lot of fans watching on in South Africa. A very strong karting nation, very strongly represented over the years, not only their own national scene, but also here in Europe and the World Championships. A number of great drivers over the years, and I'll tell you what, they've got a young star in young Stuart White. He's come from grid number way back to be in position number 7. From 15th, 16th I should say, Stuart, now behind Garcia. In fact, if Stuart can make up one more position and Javier Olivares can hold on for the win, well, Javier Olivares will then take out the title. We said that Marta Garcia didn't need to win this race, but she does need to finish up the field. But just as we say that, Marta has got past Artem Slutsky. Marta is in 5th with Murilo de la Coleta next in line. There's Aruga Tomita in number 504 behind Bradshaw. So that's the bottom steps of the podium. Tomita and Bradshaw. Marta Garcia goes through in position number 5 behind Murilo de la Coleta from Sao Paulo in Brazil. There's the virtual championship. Marta Garcia will still win it from her countrymen in this position. In fact, it will be Spain 1, 2 and 3, because Olivares will provisionally finish 2nd, and Alejandro Lajos Lopez, who we haven't spoken much about in this race, but Alejandro Lajos Lopez is going to finish 3rd in the series. Alejandro Lajos Lopez will make it an all-Spain 1, 2, 3 if the positions don't change, even though Alejandro is a retirement from this race. So we will update the positions for you. Olivares from Bradshaw, Tomita, the bottom step of the podium. They're starting to catch your leader. He had a lead of 1.2 seconds. But you can see they are closing in on the Spaniard now. It is the Brit Callum Bradshaw taking the Japanese driver Aruga Tomita along for the ride. Up the back straight, the gap is now down to 0.6 of a second with 3.5 laps remaining here at Le Mans in France. There's Callum Bradshaw. There's the 5.04 of the Japanese driver Aruga Tomita. Murillo della Coletta from Marta Garcia, the provisional series leader. There she is. A little bit of a gap. She's coming under attack now from Stuart White. The South African is now up into position number 6. Make that position number 5 because I think just out of shot, Stuart has gone through. In fact, yes, Stuart White from South Africa has gone through on Marta Garcia. A brilliant drive from Stuart. Can he get on the podium? Moreover, can he affect the results of the CIK-FIA Academy, the championship, the series for 2015? There is only 1 point in it between the two Spaniards, your race leader and Javier Loveres, your race leader and Marta Garcia. There she is. 5:50 now behind Stuart White. Artem Slutsky, the Russian. Remember, Slutsky started on the second row of the grid. Slutsky in position number 7, ahead of Enzo Corsimo, the first French driver, who's faded a little bit to be in 7th. So let's check the result for... Oh! We'll stop there because we've had a big incident on the exit of turn number 1. A sensational incident. Is that Callum Bradshaw? No. The Englishman. Can you believe it? Yes, Callum Bradshaw is out. He's going to come across the line way down the field. We'll take a look at the replay. It is number 504 to the left of your screen, touching with Callum Bradshaw. Murillo della Coletta from Brazil says, thank you very much. Up from 4th into 2nd at this moment. Look at Callum Bradshaw, left hand in the air to say, no. I was on the podium, but now I'm parked in the grass. What's that done? That has put Marta Garcia up into position number 4. She is surely on track to take the series here, but the results are going to be very different as they come across the line. It is now Stuart White from South Africa. He is on the podium. Stuart White has come from grid number 15 to be in 3rd. Head of your series leader, Marta Garcia, will take out the 2015 title if she holds on for another half lap. Javier Loveres with a 0.9 of a second lead, not over Bradshaw, but now over the Brazilian Murillo della Coletta. Stuart White, what a drive by the boy from South Africa. He's in position number 3. As we go back to our race leader, he was devastated not to win in Genk. He drove the wheels off that go-kart. As we go back to position number 3, there's White and Garcia. Oh, White has to block the inside. There's Javier Oliveras, just a few corners to go. He will win here this afternoon, the biggest win of his career so far. He's delighted. This is the final corner. The checkered flag will come out for Javier Oliveras. 2nd spot, Murillo della Coletta. The fight is on for 3rd. It is Garcia. Marta Garcia has finished on 3rd in the 3rd step of the podium, and she has won the 2000.